No star map showed sector null. Even the oldest civilizations, those who had charted galaxies before Earth learned language, marked the region with a blank anomaly. Not a nebula, not a collapsed star cluster, not even background radiation, just absence. It made the universe feel unfinished. Commander Velthra of the Orion Coalition Survey Fleet stood motionless as the holographic map shimmered before her. The projection filled the command deck with soft blue light, outlining star systems with elegant precision, until the map reached the region where data simply stopped. A perfect void. "This is impossible," Velthra said quietly. Behind her, Analyst Krev adjusted the neural filaments at the base of his skull, his species equivalent of a nervous habit. "We've cross-referenced 13 galactic archives," Krev said. "Every long-range telescope, every ancient probe record. They all omit this region." "Omit," Velthra repeated. Krev hesitated. "Removed." The distinction sent unease across the bridge. Removing data on this scale required coordination across civilizations that often refused to even share language protocols. It would take power, influence, or fear. Who would have authority to alter archives across multiple species? Velthra asked. Krev didn't answer immediately. When he finally did, his voice was lower than before. "Only one candidate fits the timeline." Velthra turned. "Humans." The word carried weight. Humanity was young by galactic standards. Barely 2 centuries since their first faster-than-light experiment had nearly destroyed their own solar system. Yet somehow they had expanded faster than any known civilization in comparable time. They negotiated peace where wars had lasted millennia. They engineered solutions other species considered physically impossible. They asked strange questions, dangerous questions, and sometimes they stopped answering questions entirely. Velthra studied the empty region again. "Deploy a probe," she ordered. A sleek reconnaissance drone detached from the survey ship and accelerated toward the void. Its sensors activated automatically, scanning gravitational waves, radiation signatures, quantum disturbances. 0.4 seconds. Data streamed normally. Then everything collapsed into static. Krev stiffened. "That interference pattern isn't natural." The static shifted, flickered, rearranged itself. Symbols formed. Angular, precise, intentional. Velthra felt her pulse quicken as the translation algorithms activated automatically. The message appeared in bold white characters across the bridge. "Turn back." The language was unmistakable. English. Krev checked the signal timestamp 3 times. "Commander, this warning was transmitted only 30 years ago." Shock rippled across the command crew. 30 years was nothing on a cosmic scale. Someone had recently hidden an entire region of space. "Attempt communication with Earth," Velthra ordered. The communications officer's fingers moved quickly across the interface. "Routing diplomatic channel now. Requesting handshake protocols." Pause. A frown. "Connection refused." "Refused?" Velthra asked. "Yes, Commander. Human networks are actively blocking contact." The bridge fell silent. Humans rarely blocked communication. They debated. They negotiated. They argued. But they did not hide. Until now. Before Velthra could issue another command, the ship vibrated with a low-frequency tremor. The void ahead shimmered. Stars appeared where there should have been nothing. Artificial stars. Thousands of them ignited simultaneously, forming a perfect spherical boundary stretching across light-years. Gasps echoed across the deck. The stars did not burn like normal fusion bodies. Their luminosity pulsed rhythmically, as though responding to something unseen. Krev magnified the center of the formation. Something massive rotated slowly within the artificial constellation. The object bent light around itself. Space curved unnaturally near its surface. Velthra felt something unfamiliar creep into her thoughts, a sensation humans might call dread. "That is not a station," Krev whispered. "No," Velthra said quietly. At the center of Sector Null floated a structure larger than entire solar systems. Layered shells of energy surrounded a geometric core that seemed to exist at impossible angles. Light touched it incorrectly. Time around it lagged by measurable fractions. Velthra straightened slowly. "That," she said, voice steady despite the chill spreading through her neural pathways, "is a shield." And whatever humanity had hidden behind it, they did not want the universe to see. Earth's response came faster than any protocol allowed. Within 3 hours of the Coalition fleet's arrival at Sector Null, a diplomatic vessel bearing the human insignia emerged from faster-than-light transit. No escort, no defensive formation, just a single silver craft drifting calmly toward the Orion flagship. "That is either confidence," Krev murmured, "or desperation." Commander Velthra watched carefully as the vessel matched velocity and transmitted authentication codes recognized across 17 alliances. "Patch them through," Velthra ordered. The holographic chamber shifted. A human woman appeared at its center, her posture composed but her eyes alert with restrained urgency. Her dark uniform bore no visible rank markings, a subtle reminder that human authority structures rarely followed galactic tradition. "I am Ambassador Lena Rao," she said evenly, "on behalf of the United Earth Directorate." Velthra inclined her head slightly. "Commander Velthra of the Orion Coalition, you have concealed an entire region of space. Explain." Lena did not respond immediately. Instead, she studied the holographic starfield behind Velthra, her gaze lingering on the artificial sphere surrounding Sector Null. "You should not have entered this sector," Lena said quietly. "That was not a request," Velthra replied. The temperature of the conversation shifted instantly. "Multiple civilizations have confirmed deliberate data erasure across their archives," Krev added. "We have identified human encryption signatures embedded in the altered records." Lena exhaled slowly. "We did not erase the sector," she said. "We hid it." "Why?" Velthra asked. Lena's eyes hardened slightly. "For the safety of the universe." A murmur spread across the command chamber. Arrogance was not uncommon among young species, but claiming responsibility for universal safety bordered on absurdity. "No single civilization decides what knowledge is permitted," Velthra said firmly. Lena nodded once. "We agree. Then explain why you broke that principle." Silence lingered for several seconds. When Lena finally spoke again, her voice was quieter. 1,000 years ago, long before humanity developed faster-than-light travel, we discovered something beneath the surface of our moon. Shock flickered across several alien observers. "Your moon?" Krev asked. "Yes. An artificial structure," Lena continued, "older than any known civilization currently active." Velthra's eyes narrowed. "And you chose not to share this discovery?" "We tried," Lena said, "but the structure resisted every attempt at analysis. Images appeared in the holographic space between them, ancient excavation footage. Human astronauts standing before a perfectly smooth geometric surface embedded deep beneath lunar rock. No seams. No visible material composition. No energy signature. Just presence. We attempted controlled detonation, Lena continued. The image shifted. A nuclear explosion blossomed silently across the moon's surface. When the light faded, the structure remained unchanged. We escalated force, Lena said. Gravitational shear weapons. Antimatter compression tests. Quantum destabilization pulses. Every attempt ended the same way. The object remained intact, unaffected, unmoved. What was its purpose? Velthra asked. Lena hesitated. At first, we believed it was a vault, she said, or an archive. But eventually, she paused again. We realized it was neither. Krev leaned forward slightly. Then what was it? Lena's voice dropped almost to a whisper. A prison. The word triggered immediate reaction across the coalition channel. Impossible, one observer transmitted. No containment technology survives geological time, another added. This one did, Lena replied. The holographic display shifted again. Interior scans revealed a hollow chamber within the structure. At its center hovered an object that did not appear solid, liquid, or energy. It appeared unresolved, like a shape partially erased from existence. We attempted to measure it, Lena said. Every instrument returned contradictory data. Mass both infinite and zero. Temperature both absolute hot and absolute cold. Position both everywhere and nowhere. Velthra felt discomfort ripple through her neural receptors. Then the incident occurred, Lena continued. A new recording appeared. A human research station orbiting Saturn decades later. Scientists monitored gravitational readings. Routine analysis. Casual conversation. Then suddenly, every human in the room stopped moving. At the exact same moment. Slowly, mechanically, each person turned toward the recording device. Their eyes had turned completely black. Their mouths moved in perfect synchronization. The translation appeared instantly. We are aware of you. The recording ended abruptly. What happened to them? Velthra asked. They returned to normal within seconds, Lena said. No physical damage. No memory of speaking. But each reported hearing the same thought. Velthra felt the tension in the chamber sharpen. What thought? Lena looked directly at her. You opened the door. The revelation did not create panic on Earth. It created unity. For the first time in recorded human history, nations stopped competing long enough to agree on something without negotiation, without leverage, without war. Whatever had spoken through the researchers orbiting Saturn was not a phenomenon to debate. It was a problem to solve. Human psychological response patterns are unusual, Krev said quietly as Lena's report continued. Yes, Lena replied calmly. Fear does not always paralyze us. Sometimes it focuses us. The holographic display expanded, revealing a timeline stretching back 3 centuries. Velthra watched as Earth's fractured governments began sharing classified research without resistance. Military alliances dissolved into scientific coalitions. Former enemies built laboratories together beneath oceans, deserts, and orbital rings. Humanity had done something few species managed even under extinction-level threat. They cooperated. At first, we believed the entity required proximity, Lena explained. So we relocated the prison from the moon. Velthra blinked. You moved it. It moved itself, Lena corrected. We only convinced it to follow. How does one convince an unknown cosmic intelligence to relocate? Krev asked. Lena allowed herself a faint, tired smile. By asking questions. Images appeared of experimental communication attempts. Humans transmitted mathematical sequences toward the structure. Prime numbers. Geometric proofs. Abstract logic puzzles. Patterns that invited completion. Each time, the entity responded by altering probability fields nearby. Equipment malfunctioned in precise ways that completed the sequences humans initiated. It did not speak, Lena said. It solved. Velthra's neural ridges tightened slightly. You treated it as an intelligence. We treated it as curiosity, Lena replied. The timeline accelerated. Human engineering projects multiplied across the solar system. Artificial stars harvested from gas giants. Gravitational anchors constructed around distant suns. Energy networks linking hundreds of systems. You built all of this, Velthra said slowly, for one entity. For one possibility, Lena corrected. The projection zoomed outward. The structure Velthra's fleet had seen in Sector Null took shape layer by layer. A spherical shell of artificial stars. Inside it, concentric rings of energy barriers, each operating on different physical principles. Fusion containment grids. Dark matter compression fields. Quantum decoherence membranes. Weapons repurposed as locks. Entire branches of physics weaponized not to destroy, but to delay. We call it the harmonic cage, Lena said. Every layer introduces variables the entity must resolve before interacting with external reality. How long can it contain the entity? Velthra asked. Lena hesitated. We do not know. The display shifted again. Astronomical observatories recorded strange phenomena across deep space. Stars dimming in unnatural rhythms. Entire constellations pulsing faintly, as if reality itself were blinking. Krev enhanced the data stream. The pattern repeats every 19.4 hours, he said. Then he froze. These fluctuations form coordinates. Velthra followed the projections as the dimming stars outlined a spatial pattern. The coordinates pointed directly to Earth's solar system. It is mapping, Velthra whispered. Yes, Lena confirmed. But not physically. A second pattern appeared as additional stars dimmed. Mathematical intervals. Precise spacing. Structured reduction. It is counting, Krev realized. Yes, Lena said quietly. The room felt smaller. When did it begin? Velthra asked. 32 years ago, Lena replied. At first, the intervals were enormous. Millions of years between reductions. And now, Lena brought up the latest recording. The countdown sequence displayed as a descending mathematical constant. The number changed slowly but steadily. Once every 3 years. Then once every 8 months. Now, once every 12 days. Krev calculated silently. His voice trembled. At this rate, the countdown will reach 0 within months. Velthra felt an unfamiliar sensation ripple across her consciousness. Urgency. What happens at 0? She asked. Lena met her gaze. We don't know. Another recording appeared. Human scientists attempted communication once more. They transmitted greetings. Universal constants. Evidence of intelligence. Peaceful intent. The response came immediately. Every transmission frequency filled simultaneously with a single equation, identical across all channels, repeated endlessly. Krev analyzed the structure. "It is not a reply," he said slowly. "It is a result." "A result of what?" Velthra asked. Krev hesitated, then spoke carefully. "The equation describes entropy reversal at cosmological scale." Velthra processed the statement twice. "You mean?" Krev nodded weakly. "The heat death of the universe. Running backward." The equation spread across the coalition networks like a fracture in reality itself. Species that had mastered stellar engineering could not interpret it fully. Civilizations that had mapped higher dimensions found contradictions within its structure. Every attempt to simplify the formula only revealed deeper layers of impossible mathematics. The conclusion remained the same. The entity was not predicting the end of the universe. It was predicting the undoing of it. Velthra studied the projection as the symbols rearranged themselves endlessly, as though resisting interpretation. "You're certain this is not a translation error?" she asked. "We verified across 18 independent systems," Lena replied. "The equation is consistent." Krev adjusted the analysis field again. "It violates thermodynamic stability," he said. "It suggests entropy decreasing without external energy input." "That is not physically possible," Velthra said. "That is correct," Lena replied. Silence settled over the chamber. Across known space, the laws of physics were not merely theories. They were constraints that defined existence itself. Civilizations had learned to manipulate energy, warp space-time, and bend probability, but always within the boundaries of consistent rules. If entropy could reverse, time itself could unravel. What exactly did your species discover inside the lunar structure? Velthra asked carefully. Lena's expression tightened. "We still do not know what it is," she admitted. "But we know what it does." The holographic display changed. Observational anomalies appeared across multiple star systems. Ships reported temporal discrepancies. Navigation logs recorded arrivals before departures. Astronomers witnessed supernova remnants briefly reconstruct into stable stars, before collapsing again into debris. Entire research outposts transmitted conflicting histories of events that had not yet occurred. "It does not break physical laws," Lena explained. "It rewrites the assumptions those laws are based on." Velthra felt unease deepen. "An intelligence capable of redefining constants," she murmured. "Yes," Lena said. "And it appears to do so by solving." Krev replayed the earlier footage of the possessed researchers speaking in perfect synchronization. "We are aware of you." "Then the entity observes," Krev said. "Yes. And it responds to observation." Lena nodded. "That is the critical problem." She expanded the timeline of human research again. Every attempt to study the entity produced increased anomalies. Each probe sent into proximity produced unpredictable quantum distortions. Each new observer correlated with acceleration in the countdown sequence. Velthra understood immediately. "You stopped studying it." "We reduced exposure," Lena corrected. "We restricted knowledge distribution." "You hid sector null," Krev said quietly. "Yes. And you blocked interstellar communication," Velthra added. "Yes. Because awareness increases its activity," Krev concluded. "Yes." The chamber fell into tense silence. For centuries, galactic progress had depended on shared knowledge. Every major breakthrough resulted from collaborative understanding across species. Humanity had done the unthinkable. They had deliberately prevented knowledge from spreading. You chose ignorance as a defense, Velthra said. We chose survival, Lena replied. Another dataset appeared. Statistical projections showing correlation between number of conscious observers and reduction rate in the countdown sequence. When only a few thousand humans knew of the entity, the countdown slowed. When millions learned partial details during early containment experiments, the countdown accelerated dramatically. When the knowledge was classified again, the countdown slowed once more. It reacts to cognition, Krev whispered. Not technology. Yes, Lena said. It responds to minds. The Vec Dominion observer transmitted a sharp signal of alarm. You have now revealed this information to the Coalition, the delegate said. Does that not increase the risk? Yes, Lena admitted. Then why tell us now? Velthra asked. Lena hesitated for the first time since her arrival. Because yesterday, the countdown changed. The projection displayed the most recent measurement. The number glowed in stark isolation. 4, then 3. The room seemed to contract around the symbol. Velthra felt a sensation unfamiliar to her species' emotional range. Foreboding. What changed? She asked. We are not certain, Lena said, but the rate of reduction increased by a factor of 12. Krev recalculated instantly. At that acceleration, 0 will occur within days. Yes, Lena said softly. The Coalition observers transmitted overlapping signals of distress. If awareness accelerates the entity, Velthra said slowly, then every civilization learning this information brings it closer to completion. Yes. Velthra studied the artificial star sphere surrounding Sector Null. You are asking the galaxy to do nothing. No, Lena replied. I am asking the galaxy to trust us. Silence stretched. Velthra considered the probabilities. Humanity had hidden this threat for centuries. They had invested unimaginable resources into containment. They had not weaponized the entity. They had not attempted to control it. They had only delayed it. You have a plan, Velthra said finally. Lena's composure faltered slightly. Yes. Velthra's gaze sharpened. Tell us. Lena hesitated, then answered quietly. The truth is, we already used it. The countdown projection flickered. 3, 2, 1. The Coalition fleet approached the harmonic cage in absolute silence. Thousands of artificial stars pulsed in synchronized rhythm, their light bending subtly as though reality itself hesitated near the containment sphere. Velthra stood at the observation deck, her gaze fixed on the impossible geometry suspended at the center of Sector Null. The structure appeared different depending on how one observed it. From one angle, its surface looked perfectly smooth, seamless and silent. From another, it revealed infinite complexity, layers folding inward at angles that should not exist within three-dimensional space. Even the instruments struggled to describe it. Coordinates drifted. Time stamps disagreed with themselves. Quantum readings returned probabilities that exceeded 100%. It is reacting, Krev whispered. Yes, Lena replied quietly beside him. It always reacts near 0. Velthra folded her hands behind her back. The countdown reached 0:17 minutes ago, she said, and yet reality persists. Yes, Lena said. Velthra turned to her. You told us awareness accelerates it. Yet you revealed everything anyway. We calculated the risk, Lena replied. And the equation did not change. Velthra considered the statement carefully. You expected this outcome? Yes. The central sphere pulsed faintly, as though responding to the presence of countless observing minds. What happens now? Krev asked. Lena transmitted a classified data sequence directly to Velthra's neural interface. The information unfolded in layered fragments. Centuries of human research, failed theories, desperate experiments. One conclusion repeated across every scientific model. The entity did not create new ideas. It completed unfinished ones. It does not initiate, Lena explained softly. It resolves. Velthra processed the implication. You gave it something to resolve. Yes. The projection shifted to humanity's most heavily encrypted project, the Paradox Initiative. For 3 centuries, humans had transmitted a single conceptual structure toward the prison. Not a message, not a threat, a problem, an incomplete logical construct designed to resist resolution, a paradox embedded across mathematical, philosophical, and physical frameworks simultaneously. What kind of paradox? Krev asked. Lena displayed the final fragment, a recursive equation describing a system that could only stabilize if it remained unsolved, a thought that collapsed if completed, a question that erased its own answer. You fed it an infinite task, Velthra said quietly. We gave it a direction, Lena corrected. Why would it accept the problem? Krev asked. Because curiosity appears fundamental to its nature, Lena replied. Every interaction shows a pattern: stimulus, resolution attempt, adaptation. And once it began solving, it could not stop. Velthra studied the harmonic cage again. The artificial stars pulsed more slowly now. The distortions in space-time began stabilizing. Probability fields returned to predictable behavior. It is occupied, Krev realized. Yes, Lena said. We did not trap the entity. We distracted it. Velthra considered the scale of the solution, an intelligence capable of reversing entropy itself, focused indefinitely on a problem with no final state. How long will the paradox hold? Velthra asked. We do not know, Lena admitted. But as long as the problem remains incomplete, the entity continues calculating. And while it calculates, it does not act. Silence spread across the observation deck as the realization settled. Humanity had not defeated the threat. They had not destroyed it. They had not even contained it completely. They had simply ensured it always had something more interesting to think about. Velthra felt a rare sensation emerge within her cognitive processes. Respect. You built a puzzle for a god, she said. Lena allowed a faint smile. We built a question. The harmonic cage shimmered once more as the entity continued its endless computation. Across the galaxy, stars remained stable. Time continued forward. Entropy continued increasing. Reality continued existing. Velthra looked toward the distant glow of Earth's home system. You hid this from the universe for centuries, she said. Yes. Why reveal it now? Lena's expression softened slightly. Because now the secret protects everyone. Velthra considered the paradox itself, a solution that required belief to function, yet accelerated danger when widely known. You trust the galaxy not to interfere, Velthra said. We trust curiosity, Lena replied, and hope that even something capable of rewriting reality can still be fascinated. Velthra looked back at the infinite structure at the center of Sector Null. Humanity had not created the most powerful weapon in existence. They had created the most compelling question, and as long as the entity continued searching for its impossible answer, the universe would continue asking new ones.